This Xfinity 500 DFS Picks 2025 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACESGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome into another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez, and today we put a wrap, a tie, an end, a zip, whatever. We close out the book on Martinsville with our DFS episode as we give you our favorite drivers for this slate. It is the second to last, or as I've been saying all week long, the penultimate race of the 2025 NASCAR season. This week, Cody, we determine the final championship four in each of the three series, but more importantly, we just kind of end a very interesting, very entertaining, and profitable 2025 season.
Yeah, it's we've talked about it a couple times over the last few weeks, but very sad that it's coming down to the end here. Been a long season, and at points during the summer, you're like, boy, it's getting grueling. But now it's like, oh fuck, we've only got 2 weekends left. So a bit unfortunate, but looking forward to Martinsville this weekend. I think this is going to be a fun race. Phoenix next week, I think we're in for really good championship four races, probably across all three series. So already looking forward to that, no doubt. But yeah, I'm excited for a little Briscoeville this weekend, Rob.
Little Briscoeville. That's, yeah, obviously, if you have not yet gone back, listen to the betting episodes from each of the series. We definitely dig deep into some of the drivers that we believe are going to do well. Obviously, a lot of the playoff drivers are represented, as we talked about it, where, you know, in these races, especially late in the season, we pretty much see the cream of the crop rise to the top, and that includes those 8 playoff drivers, and a lot of those names, as you see them highlighted in the scoring pylon, are all out there and essentially in the top 10. So what that means for DFS purposes, Cody, and both you and I were sort of grumbling as we were making our DFS picks for the week. It feels so chalky, and DK and all these DFS sites know it, and so they're going to price it as such. And you know, it makes it a little difficult to try to determine any more value than you get.
Yeah, it definitely makes it a little tricky, and I think that it's okay to be chalky this week. I think that chalk is the way to go. Typically at Martinsville, especially in the fall race, it ends up being very chalky. I think that's going to be the case this week. So don't be afraid to just, you know, sometimes it's like, you can play that guy, but he's going to be so chalky. You want to be different. Obviously, as you diversify, you're going to have to make yourself different. But in a general sense, just kind of play some of the chalk. I think that's going to be okay. But that being said, yeah, maybe a couple of these guys we're going to give out near the top tier of things aren't what you would consider chalk, but maybe they should be.
Yeah, and I've got one in particular that we didn't really bring up in the betting episode. We talked about him briefly because obviously you have to talk about him, but I think this is the best way to get in on the action on one of them. Let's first check in with the chat real quick. Marcus saying hello.
Hello,
asking what everybody's picks at Martinsville. Marcus wants Christopher Bell to win. That's a shock. Did not see that one coming. No, obviously you predict him to win the round of 8 and the championship in 2025. Stephen Harvey checking in saying, hi, Marcus. Haven't seen Stephen before. Welcome to the show.
I think we've seen him, but been a while. So good to see you, Stephen. Glad to have you here. And he's picking Ryan Blaney. So there you go. You guys, I think, are on 2 pretty good drivers this week.
I think we are indeed. Speaking of being on pretty good stuff, NBA tipping off this week. Make sure to subscribe to the NBA Gambling Podcast for daily picks podcasts. And you can tune in to the NBA Gambling Podcast wherever you get your favorite podcast. And believe me, those guys are cranking out content left and right. We think we're busy. They've got a lot to break down each and every day on the NBA Gambling Podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Very busy over there. And, hopefully the coaches and players aren't completely cheating you out of money, or maybe they won you some money. I don't know. Did you see that story today, Rod? Well, Chauncey Billups and boy, that's hey, they said Chauncey wasn't betting on his own team. The Pete Rose rule, I think that's fine. But I guess the FBI thinks a little differently.
Yeah, I mean that's an off-season conversation for sure about the legality or the morality, I suppose, of betting as you're a professional athlete. But yeah, that's a story for a different day. Obviously, we've got lots to talk about today for Martinsville. But it is the Martinsville Speedway. We are here for all 3 series going to be in action this weekend. And
I do have one piece of news before we get into it. Zane Smith, multi-year deal with Front Row Motorsports. So Front Row had been notoriously year-to-year contracts for years and years. Guys like Michael McDowell were there for a long time, but every year he had to get his contract renewed. Eventually, he kind of got tired of that. I think that's one of the reasons he left and went over to Spire, where he did get a multi-year deal. Then Front Row was like, fuck it. Todd Gilliland, here you go, multi-year deal. Going to lock him up, put him in the main car in the 34. They brought Zane Smith back, of course, won Truck Series championship a couple years ago with them. Tons of races back in the day there. He left to do the Spire deal. That didn't work out. Or I guess that was a Trackhouse deal, but racing for Spire, that whole convoluted thing. Didn't work out. Comes back to Front Row. He's found a home here. He's had a great season. We've talked about him a ton this year, especially on this DFS episode. But even in the betting markets, he's definitely made us some money. So good to see him get locked down for a couple multi-year deal there. So Front Row is kind of locking in people. I don't know. I feel like Gragson was a multi-year deal when he signed last year, but I don't recall for sure. But they've got a pretty young core of guys. Gragson's been a bit disappointing this year, which is kind of unfortunate. We know what he's capable of doing, but that's a pretty solid core with those 3 young guys if they're able to keep building on that going forward. Interestingly enough, you sign this multi-year deal right now as 2311 and Front Row are in court battling things out. Obviously, they feel like there's a future if they're giving a guy like Zane Smith a multi-year deal. I'm sure that there is wording in that contract if they lose the lawsuit or have to fold, obviously. But very interesting that they're feeling fine to go ahead and hand out multi-year deals right now. So must be feeling pretty confident in the results of this, or even if it doesn't go their way, in continuing on as a program.
And good for Zane Smith. I mean, obviously, we did sing his praises a lot in the Truck Series, and we have seen some pretty solid runs out of Zane and competitive runs. I guess that's really what you're looking for in the team, and I know Front Row wants to continue to build on that. And yeah, locking Zane in is a good start to that. And I do look forward to talking about Zane Smith, pretty much a majority of next year, hopefully in these fringe top 10 bets and or some group bets, or maybe a couple of super speedway discussions as well. I know silly season is getting cranked up already, and we haven't even finished the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually sort of late this year, it seems like usually it seems like a lot of the stuff kind of comes out earlier in the year. Next year is going to be insane because the drivers, especially big name drivers whose contracts are up at the end of 2026, it is a massive list. That'll definitely be an off-season topic that we'll get into, kind of, give our thoughts and try to predict where people might go. But a lot of big name contracts are up at the end of 2026. Obviously, I'm sure this offseason, going into next season, some of them will get extended deals and things, but could see a lot of musical chairs with rides. And depending on how this lawsuit shakes out, depending on 2311 of Front Row's future, what that looks like. NASCAR has these other charters they're holding on to. Do they begin to sell those with this, supposed interest from other teams? Again, is that legal maneuvering? Who knows, right? We don't exactly know what we're getting into there, but could be a pretty exciting couple of silly seasons coming up here in the very near future.
Lots and lots to discuss in that instance. All right, well, look, I don't think we need to talk about any of the other news because we've got plenty of time in the off season to discuss the rest of the silly season stuff. So let's get right into the DFS portion of this. Before we do, I would love my friends over at MyBookie. We are brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on football and everything else. Plus, their prop builder is second to none. Their motto is bet on anything, anywhere, anytime. And believe you me, if you've listened to this show for 5 seconds, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's easy deposit, lightning fast payout using cryptocurrency. Still seeing my friends over at, here's what's funny, right? So the beginning of the week, MyBookie was giving the San Francisco 49ers out as 1-point underdogs to the Houston Texans this Sunday. Then they switched it up to 1.5-point underdogs. Now they're back to 1-point underdogs at plus 103. You guys have been listening. You guys have been hammering. Continue to hammer this. Minus 103. Plus 103 for the Niners plus 1. I would definitely take that. Plus 113 on the money line. Let's go. San Francisco over Houston for the win all across the board over on mybookie.ag. Find that everywhere. And head to mybookie.ag. Use promo code SGPN for a 100% bet back bonus up to $500 for new customers. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Novig. Novig is America's #1 prediction market. Novig, you're getting the best prices out there. It's available in 35 states, and that number continues to grow. Download the Novig app and get $50 when you spend $5 if you use our promo code SGPN. Get in on the action with Novig, promo code SGPN. Well, Cody, we are at the Martinsville Speedway in Ridgeway, Virginia, set for the Xfinity 500 laps around this .526 paperclip track.
That's a lot of laps led. That's a lot of fastest laps. You've got to get those guys right if you're going to win money this week in NASCAR DFS.
Yeah, again, 500 these short track races that have these 500 laps, that is definitely, if you miss out on the top guy, then you might as well just consider yourself not cashing in any of your contests. So
you're going to be pretty cooked if you don't get the guy that leads the most laps. If you don't get maybe the other guy that leads a ton of laps. It's last week you're more searching for finishing position, for place differential, less about laps led, less about fastest laps. This week it's the complete opposite. You have to get the fastest laps. You have to get the laps led. And then obviously finishing position is always important, and place differential is fine too, for in its right areas, but laps led more than anything this week is what you got to focus on.
Just to put it in perspective, in the spring race, and neither one of us have him on our list, but Denny Hamlin led 274 laps of 400. That was 400 laps. Remember, this is a 500 lap race. The spring race is 400 lap race. So 274 out of 400 laps. Just imagine, what you get. In the 500 last year, it was Brad Keselowski who led 170 laps of this race. Chase Elliott led 129 at this race. So when we talk about leading a lot of laps, that's exactly what that means. And that's exactly what that looks like. So definitely important.
Yeah, and something else to think of. As I was starting to preparing for this DFS episode, I was thinking about putting in the doc even like just take the pole sitter because you're going to want a guy that leads a ton of laps here. But then if you start to look over the last at least 3 races is really as far as I went. Then I stopped because the last 3 races the pole sitter hasn't led more than 88 laps. So it's not been a crazy ton of laps led, and even going back 4 races ago was only 47 by Martin Truex. So I don't think you have to overreact to, oh my God, this guy's on the pole, we've got to play him. And it's not like in a lot of those cases, it's been Joe Blow, starting on the pole in those. Back here in the spring, it was Christopher Bell. You think, oh, Christopher Bell, holy shit. Well, he only led 25 laps. Denny Hamlin started in 5th place. Yet he's the one who led the ass ton of laps that you just mentioned. Then you go back to last fall, it was Martin Truex Jr. Oh, the 19 car is good here, I've heard, Rod. They might not be trying this weekend, but they're good here. He only led 41 laps starting on the pole in that race. Then you go back to the spring of last year, and Kyle Larson of all, you're thinking, oh boy, Kyle Larson starting up front, watch out. He only led 86 laps in that. Now, granted, that race was very spread out because you had 3 different guys that led over 80 laps. But to the point of, you don't necessarily just have to settle for who was on the pole, I guess. Kind of stick to your guns going into this. If you take one of these guys we mentioned, or if you're very high on a guy and he starts top 5, 6, 7, 8, they've got ways to find their way to the front quickly. And once they get there, they can definitely, run away with it. So don't feel, I guess I just kind of want to mention, don't feel trapped into, oh my God, this guy's on the pole, I have to take him. Because, if it's somebody you're going in convicted about, then yeah, you probably want to take him. But
yeah, no. So listen, and honestly too, when you look at the prices, it's very heavily skewed in the direction of a lot of these guys that we talked about in the betting episode being very good at this track anyways. And then most of these are actual playoff drivers. So there's no value really, I guess, in just picking the guys at the top. And I got a couple of really, really cheap options as my mid-tier, my low price driver, because you have to be able to fit a couple of these guys in here because they're going to be the ones that are up front. They're going to be the ones that are finishing well. And by all rights and accounts, most of them are going to be the ones that are leading laps. So, yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, that's probably going to be the best route, right? Pick 2. If you can get 3 of these top tier guys in your lineup, and if you're using the 2 guys we're using, you'd be able to do that. But yeah, and then maybe go pretty cheap on the rest of your guys. Try and find that upside of a, Gilliland, like we talked about in the betting episode, getting a top 10, an SVG or whoever. Some of these guys that have the possible upside at the bottom side, which we'll talk about in a few as well. But I think that's the way to approach this race.
Agreed. All right, well, let's get into it. Let's give you our high price drivers for this Xfinity 500 from Martinsville.
Yes, I am going to start. I'm going to go, top of the board. We talk about how chalky and everything, but I'm actually going to take the 6th highest priced driver. I think you're getting a hell of a deal for a guy at the top of the board like this, and that's Chase Elliott at $10,000. I think that people are going to talk themselves into Blaney. They're going to talk themselves into Hamlin. They're going to talk themselves into Bell. Going to talk themselves into Larson. I'm not saying not to take any of those guys. If I was taking one, I'd be Denny Hamlin out of that group. But I think that there's some value in some of these guys right below that. Chase Elliott, Rod, has actually led the most, or rather has the most laps run inside of the top 5, according to NASCAR Insights, at Martinsville in the next gen era. Talked about him on the betting episode. He is actually really, really good at this track. Back in the spring here, started in 2nd place, so got that front row start. Only led 42 laps, but you'll take that. I mean, it's still a decent day, right? Led 42 laps, but he was up front the whole day, 7th in stage 1, 2nd in stage 2, ends up 4th at the end of the day. It's a good run. Last year in this race, started in 2nd place. He's been very good at starting well here. Finished in 2nd place, but he did lead 129 laps. Jumped out early, won that stage 1, and had a great day. Then going back to the spring of 2024, started in 3rd, finished in 3rd, led 64 laps. So then if you go back 4 races ago, he led 84 laps. So in the last 4, or 83 laps rather, but in the last 4 races, he's led at least 42 laps, finding his way to the front. He's getting in laps led, which is part of what you're looking for here. And 129 last fall, that's a pretty good run. If you go back to April of 2022, he led 185. 2021 in the fall race, 289 laps. The last time that he came into this, well, I don't know if it was the last time he came into this needing a time that he came into this needing a win. And if you remember, we set this up yesterday in the betting episode, but he's 62 points below the cut line. He has to win to advance. That was the case in 2020. Started in 8th place, led 236 laps. Found his way to the front, got that win, and got himself into the championship and won the championship that year. Chase Elliott, to me, is a guy, if you think of all the guys on the grid, probably the least emotional guy there is. Almost robotic, right? He's just always there. He's never too happy. He's never too sad. He's never too emotional. He's just there. And in a situation where we've got to come in here, we have to do what we need to do. We have to go win this race. They know that. He's got a very experienced crew chief. I know Alan Gustafson gets shit from myself, from a lot of people all the time. He's a very good crew chief. It's been around for a long time. They're very good at qualifying well here. He's going to start near the front, and he's going to lead laps in this race because he does every single time they come to Martinsville. Give me Chase Elliott, $10,000.
Yeah, and again, I kind of echoed that in the betting episode as well, in that, yeah, especially the price that he's at too, that gives you the flexibility to kind of double up on the high price guys if you can find yourself somebody to sort of, dip down on. But I do like that, because when we look at the top of it, and especially when I took my high price driver into consideration, when you look at the top of the board at who's priced where, Blaney's at 11,200. Obviously, he's got to win to get in. It's a desperation move for him. So that's why he's probably going to be rostered pretty highly, because he's going to be going for the win. Denny Hamlin is somebody that is perennially inside of the top 5 when it comes to points in this race, especially fantasy points in this race. Had 151 in the spring, 103 in the 74 in the fall of 2024. And then 58 before that. So Denny Hamlin, another guy that if he gets out and he leads a bunch of laps, he's going to be totally worth the price. But if he doesn't, then he's going to be in that 5th place realm and kind of taking a chance on him. So I'll dip down to Joey Logano, somebody that not a lot of people are probably going to be on. But I think this is the only way that I feel comfortable getting in on Joey Logano, because for DFS purposes, I don't need a specific place finish. I don't need him as a top 5 finisher or a top 3 finisher. Obviously, he is going to be jockeying, and I know it's odd year Joey Logano. I get it. I'm part of that narrative that sings his praises in the even years and stays off in the off years. But for DFS purposes, it doesn't matter, right? We don't need a win out of him or even a really high finish. We just need a good, solid DFS day like he gave us in the spring, where he got his 50 points, right? He started 7th, finished 8th, had 27 fast laps, actually led 10 laps in that one. In the fall, he got 38 points. That was the 12th highest output on the day of 2024. But in the spring of 2024, 72.95 points, started 6th, finished 6th, 31 fast laps, led 84. Joey Logano, the 5th most fantasy points getter in the fall of 2023 with 52.6, started 15th, finished 5th at 8 fast laps. And then in the spring of 2023, the 5th place guy in terms of points, 63.5 points to be exact, started 15th, finished 2nd, had 5 fast laps, led 25. So I talked about Denny Hamlin being into that 5th place range, and that's kind of where he is in the top 5. But Denny Hamlin, is $11,000. Joey Logano is only $10,200. So you're taking a pretty decent dip down into the low 10,000 for Joey Logano with about the same kind of consistency. Maybe not the same kind of upside, right? He's not going to jump out and get you 100 points, Logano. But if we're talking somewhere between the 5th and the 7th best driver in the slate, or 5th to 9th best driver in the slate on a consistent basis on this track, I will take that, because 10,200, not a lot of people, especially in GPPs, not a lot of people are going to be trying to roll Joey Logano. It's just they're going to be trying to fit in the Blaneys and the Hamlins and the Loganos, and the Larsons rather. So yeah, give me Joey Logano, 10,200.
Yeah, I'd consider myself one of those people. He's not going to be one of the guys at the top of my list of wanting to grab. So to your point, you can make yourself different. And again, it's going to be chalky, yes, but chalky can still spread across those top 8 drivers. Really, I mean, that's really what we're looking at when we say chalk, is we think those 8 drivers are probably going to be pretty much above everyone else. I think that those guys are going to be top 15 all day long, top 10 all day long, maybe even, barring somebody having an issue, obviously. And that's obviously part of why they've gotten to this point, right? Yes, but at this type of track, that lends into the chalk. So you've got to pick and choose between these top guys. Logano's not going to be very high on a lot of people's lists because, it's an odd year, but hey, they're going in the thing that I think could really work out in your favor in the DFS thing is they're going to shoot their shot. If there is an opportunity with this tire wear, with the way cautions fall, with fuel, whatever it is, they'll shoot their shot and stay out, lead a ton of laps. They'll stay, whatever. And suddenly you're going to be looking near the end and you're going to be like, fuck, Joey might have a shot at winning this, right? And it's just going to be like, even if it didn't seem like it most of the day, that's a chance to get a bunch of DFS points and and I do think be different from a lot of people. So I like to play for that reason.
Yeah, and Logano's 38 points behind the cut line, which means he's going to have to race smart, get points, and really what we talked about in the betting episode on all three series. The best way to do it, just to win. The only way to sure yourself the next round is to just go out and win.
And in the Cup Series, especially those 4 below the cut. I mean, again, barring catastrophe for Larson or Bell, you're going to need to win in the Cup Series.
Indeed. All right. Well, then, who are we naming as our mid-tier drivers for this slate?
Yeah, this is the guy you talked about on the betting episode. You stole him from me because I was definitely going to if you hadn't. So glad that you saved him for me on the DFS side of things. Bubba Wallace at $8,000. I think he's the perfect mid-tier guy to play this week. Not too expensive, saving a little bit of money. Tons of upside, though. He has been really, really good in the next-gen era at Martinsville here. He finished 3rd place in the spring. Not a lot of upside when it comes to laps led. He's not done that a ton. I mean, he led 6 laps in this race last fall, 23 laps one time in the old car, fine. But you're probably not going to get a lot of laps led, although I think he is capable of it. And the way they've been running this year, I wouldn't be shocked to see it. But this is mostly looking for the finishing position upside, and I think you have that with Bubba Wallace. 3rd place here in the spring, was 18th last fall, so you'd like to see it be a little bit better, but 4th place last spring, 11th, 9th, 8th, and then 16th in that inaugural race here in the next-gen era. But he's been pretty good here, and even back in the old car, even with the 43 car, Richard Petty, 11th, 13th place finishes, had a 16th place finish in his first start for 23-11 here as a brand new team. That's the race where he led 23 laps. So, but you put on top of that just how well they've been running lately. And I know he didn't make it to the round of 8 here. He did get cut out barely. He probably should have, right? If it wasn't for Denny Hamlin beating him, where was that? It was at Kansas, right? Where he got the better of him. Or was that Kansas? Yeah, that was Kansas, wasn't it? No. Was that Las Vegas? That was I don't remember. Doesn't matter where it was.
We're like, I forget that I locked the car when I walked away from it. So you want me to remember 3 weeks back?
Yeah, it's fine. Whatever. Anyways, moving along. But arguably could have got to this point, right? Coming off the 4th place finish at Talladega last week, the 5th place run at Kansas a couple of weeks ago. He's had some good runs down the stretch. Watkins Glen, Indianapolis, Dover, Iowa. 6th place finish at Iowa, which is a very there's no real comp to this because it is its own thing, right? It's the smallest track we have outside of Bowman Gray. But yeah, he's been good this year. He's been great at Martinsville in the past. That 6th place at Iowa is definitely a good reflection of things. He's not one of these guys that I'm out of the playoffs, I'm out. Like there's not an off button on Bubba Wallace. We know that, right? He's going to go hard until the very end. I think at $8,000, he's a great play here in the mid-tier.
Yeah, I definitely had talked him up on the betting episode a couple days ago too, so I'm with you on Bubba. And like you said, there, and I think that's about the best way that you could put it. There is no off switch for Bubba Wallace. There's no relax now that we're out of the playoffs. There's no just kind of a button where he's like, okay, well, the relax button. There is no such thing. Anytime he gets in that car, he's proving to himself, he's proving to everybody that I think as far as DFS and any betting, I think he's a really good play this week because there's so much upside for Bubba Wallace. So speaking of upside, you talked about him in the betting episode, and I most certainly love him for DFS purposes and probably on the lowest end of the mid-tier that we've ever been in our life. SVG, $5,900. Nico, where are you at? SVG, $5,900 is my mid-tier driver. And it's not coming with a heap of positive stats to back me up on this one because we all know that this is not a road course. Therefore, SVG is not the favorite, and he probably won't go out and lead you a ton of laps. But here's the thing about him. His upside is 50.7 points that he got you in the fall of 2024, where he started 29th, finished 12th, and had 6 fast laps. He was inside of the top 10 in overall in that fall race of last year, or that fall race of 2024. The thing about it is this, right? We all know that SVG is king of the road courses, and I said this yesterday 2 days ago in the betting episode, when it's like all of a sudden he's like Happy Gilmore learning how to putt. Once he starts to put together these ovals, it's over for everybody, right? And that's kind of where he's leaning right now. He's not quite there yet, but 11th at Talladega last week, He had a bad crash in Las Vegas where he finished 33rd, but he actually started in 13th in that race. Kansas, top 10
was running top 10 a majority of the day, or near the top 10 majority of the day before that wreck at Vegas.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. So he was right there hanging with the leaders. And in fact, there was a lot of people that were like, ooh, look at SVG, that 88 car up here in the top 10, running around, having fun. And it's true, because he's been able to do that. So again, this is more because if you're going to fit all of the top guys, or at least two of the top guys, then you really, really need some salary relief, with the potential of, look, he could go out and qualify poorly and actually have a good run and finish somewhere near the top 15. And those place differential points will get you a long way. It could even get you 50 points. And for $5,900 to get you 50 points, that's a really good return. So I think SVG is a good dice roll this week.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that just line up really well for him here. The consistent braking like a road course, right? You get into that rep 500 laps of speed up, slow down, brake, speed up, slow down, brake, speed up, slow down, brake. There's possibly nobody better in the sport at the rhythm of that type of thing than SVG is, because he's so good at that type of thing. It's going to be quick. It's going to be repetitive. He's going to find that rhythm. And as he finds it and settles in, that's going to pay big dividends for him. The potential higher tire wear we might get with this left side tire that's supposed to wear more. Who's better at taking care of their tires than SVG? Denny Hamlin, maybe, but that's a pretty short list, right? He's near the top of it. Yeah, I love this. When we gave him out on the betting episode 2 days ago, 22-1 for a top 10. A lot of places he's down to 5-1. Was it? I think it was Nico posted in the Discord. Did you see the cash out they've offered him? Like almost doubled his money already. And we haven't even the haulers aren't even at the track yet, and already it's gone that crazy, because I think the books are realizing, oh shit, maybe we made a little bit of a mistake here. So yeah, absolutely love this play. And in a chalky week where you need to shove in guys at the top, having a mid-tier guy that's essentially a low-tier guy, it's really good strategy. So I kind of like how this ended up laying out, and where you're ending up giving out almost two low-tier guys, one as the mid-tier. So love the SVG play this week.
Yeah, again, and we sort of knew it coming into it, as far as knowing that we had to kind of go expensive at the top of the list. And so, yeah, I think SVG and both of us too, as we were scrolling through some of the mid-tier guys, we were like, not really feeling the mid-tier. I mean, okay, listen, let me just read off a couple of names, and this is my reaction to it, right? Like Ty Gibbs, Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher, Kyle Busch, Austin Cindric had one. Like, we're talking, these are the $7,000 guys, like 7,800 for Ty Gibbs, 76 for Brad, 75 for Chris. It's like, none of them made me go, yay. You know, it was not really a good selection this week.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think Bubba's kind of that one guy. I think we both agree on that. And then it's like, after that, just not a lot you love there. Where on the bottom side of things, that we've found really three guys. SVG is your mid-tier guy, quote unquote. And then the two guys we're about to give out in the low-tier side of things that I think are all three great options. Maybe you even start your lineup with those three, and then, you know, able to build from there. And you're going to have plenty of room left.
I concur. All right, let's get to our low tier guys, but I want to do that after I tell you about our friends over at Underdog. Underdog is a great place to play fantasy pick'em, where you can win up to 5,000 times your entry. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite players' stats. It's available in a ton of sports. We know this 100%. Thursday night football. For those of you who watch live, this one's for you. Thursday night football. Let's talk about our friend Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen has a reception total projection set at 5.5 receptions. So 5.5 receptions for Keenan Allen. That dude is becoming Justin Herbert's absolute favorite weapon. I'm going to take the higher than. You get 1.06 times your entry if you select higher than 5.5 receptions for Keenan Allen on Thursday night football. If you miss this, watch live. No, I'm just kidding. I'll have more for you later, obviously. And have some fun. Underdog's got a brand new offer. You can, for new customers, play just $5. Get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACE, SGPN. Rhythm is back. NFL is back. Rhythm is crushing it in college football and NFL with picks and props. Rhythm's also giving away weekly cash prizes just for tracking your bets in the app. Track 5 bets of the same type from any model you build, you could win $1,000. Taking a look at Jets Bengals game, one of the predictions that Rhythm is giving us is the point total being 43.2 total points. I'll tell you right now that the mybookie.ag has the over under on this one at 45 or 44.5 rather. So that tells me take the under if Rhythm is predicting 43. It'll be tight, but we'll take that. Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off of your first month. Download Rhythm and use promo code SGPN25. There's certain games on the slate or on the schedule that you need a little action on to be able to get yourself through it. I feel like that Jets-Bengals game is going to be one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a couple of those last week. It was was it Jets Dolphins played, and then I don't remember. There was two just like the only way you're going to be looking at these games is if you have action in the games, which that's what makes betting and fantasy and all that stuff so much fun because it keeps you interested in those games that really from a football aspect maybe aren't the greatest.
Just ask the NBA. All right, let's get down to our low tier drivers because
too soon.
Like you said, we need some low price drivers to fit in some of these higher guys. So who do you got?
Yeah, we do. And Todd Gilliland's the guy for me, $6,400. I know he's a guy we've talked about a lot on this show in particular over the season, but you look at what he's done at Martinsville, he's been really, really good here. So he's got 7 career starts, all in the next gen era. Came here in his first start, finished in 30th place, so not the greatest of days. But since then, a 13th, a 25th, a 10th, a 13th, a 26th last fall, and a 10th place. So 4 of those 6 starts, he's been 13th place or better. For a guy down the board at only $6,400, that is high upside that he provides for you. And really, that's, kind of the majority of the thought process here. You could also look at what he's done this year. Cashed that top Ford for us last week with the second place at Talladega, of course. But down the stretch, he's looked pretty good. 21st at Las Vegas, 17th at the Roval, 12th place at Kansas, 19th at New Hampshire, a short flat track there. 24th at Bristol, a short track. Finishes of 11th at places like Daytona, 6th at the Brickyard 400. Just kind of had some good, solid runs throughout the entire year. You go back, 12th place at Kansas, 11th place at Texas, 10th place at Martinsville in the spring, of course, 14th place at Darlington, 17th place at Phoenix to open the year, 10th place at Coda. Like, it's been a pretty solid year. We just talked about them upping Zane Smith and continuing to build this base of drivers they have. Gilliland's been a solid driver. You're getting their A driver at only $6,400 when he's a guy that week after week kind of just delivers for you. And Martinsville has kind of been a place where he's found a lot of success 4 times, finishing in the top 13 in the last 6 races there. That's pretty solid for a guy at this type of price point. Again, when you're trying to save as much money as you can. So give me Todd Gilliland to $6,400.
Absolutely love it. I'm on him for a top 10, and I believe that will be good enough to get you a nice solid return on your $6,400 investment. Saw some fun little retorts back and forth between Ricky Stenhouse and Kyle Busch this past couple of days, where I guess there was a crash report that came out. Kyle Busch was high up on that list.
Funny. Yeah, if you did not see it, it is worth mentioning. So Auto Racing Analytics tweeted out the drivers most often involved in crashes in 2025, and tied for second on the crash rate is Kyle Busch. And so Stenhouse quote tweeted it and said, "Crazy to think the guy that gave me the nickname Recky Spinhouse is on this list," because Kyle's the one who kind of coined that. And he's now, they've switched roles, Rod.
They certainly have. Yeah. And Ricky has actually been a very solid non-spinny driver lately. And I think really solid for your DFS purposes. $5,400 this week he comes in. Ricky is 4 for 5 in finishing with at least 25 fantasy points over the last 5 races. In the spring, he got you 37. That was the 13th highest output on the day. Started 34th, finished in 20th. In the fall of 2024, he got you 33.25. Started 28th, finished in 20th, had 5 fast laps. The only one where he failed to do it was in the spring of 2024, where he probably ended up spinning and wrecking. He got you 7 points in that one, starting in 23rd and finishing in 29th. But in the Martinsville 2, the fall of 2023, he got you 25 points, the 20th highest output on the day. And then the 12th highest output in the spring of 2023, where he got you 44.45 points, starting 16th, finishing in 8th with a fast lap in there. I mean, again, this is more of, on this particular track, it seems as if he's been able to give you good DFS days every single time he sets foot out here. And the track record obviously is not as good everywhere else. So singing his praises doesn't necessarily do you a lot of good in this instance outside of Martinsville. But if we're going to take this under a microscope and pick a guy that at $5,400 can at least try to deliver you 25 to 30 to 40, sometimes 50 points, like there's no downside. He hasn't lost you points on this particular track, which is a big thing since 2023, which, you know, is a good investment already, let alone the upside of him starting in the back, which is probably something he's going to do, and climb his way up to a 20th place finish, hopefully better. But yeah, I mean, for Ricky Stenhouse, I'm definitely down to take a flyer on him at $5,400.
Yeah, love this play as well. Before I put Gilliland in there, I was going to go with SVG. You already had him. I was going to go with Stenhouse. You already had him. So Gilliland was my third choice. But yeah, I love both of these, you know, low tier plays that you kind of gave over the last two guys. I think Stenhouse is another guy that's a great play this week. Saves you a ton of money. Again, trying to get those higher priced, chalkier guys at the top of the board in. These guys offer you pretty good upside at the bottom of the board.
They certainly do. All right, get out your pen and paper. We're going to go over our DFS plays for this Xfinity 500. Cody started you out with Chase Elliott at $10,000 as his high-priced driver. Joey Logano at $10,200 was my high-priced driver. Bubba Wallace was Cody's mid-tier driver at $8,000. SVG was my mid driver for sure. $5,900 for him. Todd Gilliland was Cody's value driver, $6,400, and mine was Ricky Stenhouse Jr., $1,000 cheaper at $5,400. All right, Cody, as we like to do, we like to give you one bonus from each of the Xfinity and the Truck Series, because both of these series will also be crowning their championship for contenders by the end of it. So there's a lot to race for, especially in the Slim Jim 200 laps around this 0.526 mile paved track. 105 miles, not a lot, not as many as the Cup, but still certainly enough to make a difference for you. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be fun. Playoff drivers abound. And yeah, look at, for me, this race is super exciting because we either see Corey Heim run away with it or we watch other drivers actually. Yeah.
The spring race, yeah, Corey Heim ran away with it, and then there was utter chaos at the very end, and that really threw things into a tizzy. So honestly, I wouldn't mind some super speedway-esque lineups in here. You're probably going to want to grab your guy that's still going to lead a lot of laps because you still have plenty on a short track like that, but kind of building some lineups for chaos might be fun in this Truck Series, might be a little different. So keep that in mind if you're one of those people that's building some just different things. But I wanted to highlight a guy we didn't really talk about in the betting episode, but shout out to our guy, Gio Ruggiero. Got his first career win last week at Talladega. Going to take him for $7,800 this week. He's just been really, really solid down the stretch. He's been a Discord favorite. If you're not on the Discord, sg.pn/Discord, make sure you get over there. Continue to chat it up throughout the week, throughout the races, but been a guy that guys in the Discord have been on constantly. Started on the pole last week at Talladega, got that win. But he's been on a pretty good run. New Hampshire a couple of weeks back, shorter, flatter track, a fourth-place finish there after starting in 14th. That's a decent day for you. Bristol, Darlington, Indy, a little bit of tougher days, but third at the Roval, second at Daytona, sixth at Richmond short track, third at Watkins Glen, third at Lime Rock, fourth at Kansas, seventh at North Wilkesboro short flat track. He's had some really, really good runs as the season's gone on. Did finish 12th here in the spring. I can't remember how he was running during that race. Obviously, I mentioned it, utter chaos at the end of that one. Kind of jumbled everything up, so don't look too deep into just finishing results there. But Gio's been a guy who's put it together, been qualifying really well. Maybe he gets another pole this week, leads some laps to open this thing up, and maybe even stays out there for a while. So Gio Ruggiero, $7,800 is my Truck Series guy to highlight.
Telling you, my one regret last week was not being high enough on Gio. I was definitely on his top 5, but I did not really see a win coming out of him. So good for him. And yeah, I mean, I love him to run it back because now the confidence of winning a race is there. And there's nothing but, think about the teammates he's got and the garage he's in. Like, this is a good place for Gio to be in. So excited for his future. All right, 7 truck. It's going to be Andrés Pérez de Lara, $6,600 for Andrés Pérez. I mean, this is a truck that obviously we know is a good truck, right? And we know that he is going to be, I'm sorry, he's not in the 7. He's in the 44, but it's still a nice truck, right? This is a truck that he's definitely going to be driving. I don't know what I was thinking with the 7 truck. Sorry, guys.
Well, he was in that truck at the beginning of
yes, he was.
Or was he in the 7? I can't remember he was in a Spire truck at the beginning of the year. And obviously he isn't anymore.
Yeah. So see, this is what happens. I forget if I locked the door or not, let alone
he was in the 77, I think. Now that's
77. That's what it was.
Not that it matters, but yeah.
You know what it is? I think I know exactly what it is. Because when you click on his name, he was in the 77. When DraftKings, and it throws you off when you look at that.
They don't well, half the time the pictures are wrong, but yeah, they don't always update the information correctly. And you're like, wait, is that guy in that car? And then you go and look and you're like, no, he's not been in that car for a while, but oh well.
Anyways, still in the 44 Nice truck, we obviously know that these Nice trucks are good. We've seen them run well each and every week, and we've seen him run well each slowly but surely, to the point where, look, the last short track we were on was Bristol. He finished 8th place at Bristol, 16th place start, 8th place finish. Darlington, a 20th place start, a 16th place finish. Just Lime Rock, he finished 17th after starting 10th. Unfortunately, not the best, but that was in the 77 truck, which he was in the 77 truck earlier in the season. But last week at Talladega, 22nd place start, 17th place finish. In terms of DraftKings points, like, look, 45 points is what he got at Loudon, right, when he finished 8th place there. So just a fantastic day there. And you're only paying $6,600 for that 44 truck for Andrés Pérez. And again, like I said, when you're looking for value, when you're trying to fit some of these higher price guys in there, if you want to go top heavy with Heim and Riggs, like Heim is $13,000. You need somebody who's not going to be lower than, to round out your roster, right? This is crazy. $13,000 for Corey. Lane Riggs is $11,000. So like $11,000. It's just crazy to think that these guys are so expensive. So you need a little salary relief. And I think if you're looking for good upside, Andrés Pérez in that 44 truck gives you exactly that.
Yeah, I actually really, really like this place. So I will completely back you on it.
Yeah, it's not somebody we talk about very often either.
Yeah,
like
we've not talked about him much at all. We can't even remember what truck he was in. But but good play this week.
That'll do it. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't feel the need to go over both of those for you because it wasn't like it was that
Just
long ago.
Hit the rewind button if you forgot.
Yeah. If you forgot, look, if you're like me and you lock your car and you walk away and you ask your kids, "Hey, did I lock my car?" Yeah, they're already tired of that question. Go back a couple of seconds, but wow, Cody, that'll do it for Martinsville. We'll put that one.
Are we gonna do the Xfinity or no?
Oh, Jesus H. Christ. Yes. See? You see what I'm at? This is, oh my God.
No, you didn't lock your car yet, Rod, because the show's not over.
All right, Cody. Xfinity Series race is also racing here. This someday, Grandpa will be able to remember anything. If I forget your face, just don't take offense. All right, it is the IAA and Ritchie Bros 250 set for 250 laps around the Martinsville Speedway in Ridgeway, Virginia. Once again, they are crowning the Final Four as well. And I mean, this is going to be an interesting. There's a lot of folks that need to win to get in, but this is actually a closer race than some of the other ones are out there as far as points are concerned.
Yeah, so this is what Kirk Herbstreit felt like all those years trying to corral Lee Corso and make sure he was doing the right thing and saying the right thing. Oh boy.
This must be what the booth feels like with Terry Bradshaw now. Like this is, they're like, Terry, but they'll say,
look right here, Terry. Just say what this says. Don't say anything this doesn't say to say.
Rod, read the prompter. Rod, read the prompter.
And go fuck yourself, San Diego. But anyways, yes, Xfinity Series. This is going to be a very exciting race. A lot of guys. The points are very, very close on the cut line here. Basically for that last spot, right? The top two are locked in with Zilich and Allgaier. Love, barring the catastrophic day, he'll be in as well. But the other, how many guys does that leave? 5 guys, Rod. Boy, math not always my strong suit, but figured it out on the fly there. The other 5 guys, they're all in quite the points battle, so should be in for a good one in this one. Somebody who's not battling for points, he's already locked into the Owners' Championship in the next round. I think he's going to run away with this race, and the more and more I look at it, the more and more I love Aric Almirola this weekend. $10,500. He's got 3 career starts here in the Xfinity Series. Back in the spring, it didn't go so well. He started in 15th. He finished in 13th. He only led 7 laps. Just Joe Gibbs was off. We talked about it yesterday when we talked about the Xfinity Series thing. They were off. He was off. I'm throwing that one out because 2024, in the 2 races, he started in, and take note of this, he started in 6th place in the April race, 9th place in the November race. So he wasn't the fastest car out there. He started behind some people, but it didn't matter. In April, he won stage 1, second in stage 2, led 148 laps. He won the race. In November, won stage 1, won stage 2, led 150 laps, won the race. I think we're looking at that type of performance from Aric Almirola. I referenced the stats earlier from the NASCAR Insights X page. Laps run in the top 5 at Martinsville since 2022. Keep in mind, Aric Almirola has not run in the Cup Series for the last 2 years. That's 3 races at Martinsville he's missed. He's still top 10 on this list with 554 laps, just behind Joey Logano by 100 laps in running in the top 5 here. Still top 10 on that list. It's insane, but he was so good here in the Cup Series. His final Cup Series start here, 66 laps led, finished in 2nd. He was 6th before that, a 15th, 8th, 6th, a 20th, a 7th. A couple of bad finishes, but just going back over his career, really consistent, even back in his Richard Petty days, 4th place finishes, 8th place finishes. He's been really good at this track in particular. This and New Hampshire, his 2 tracks, made so much money over the years with him. The dominating performances in both races last year. Don't be alarmed if he starts 6th place, 9th place like he did last year. He's going to find his way to the front. He's going to lead a lot of laps. Yes, you're paying up for him, but don't skip over this opportunity to get a dominant performance out of Aric Almirola. He's coming off of good runs the last couple of weeks. He won at Las Vegas, locked that car into the Owners' Championship, which is what he's racing for. He doesn't have to worry about points or anything this week because he's already locked into that. Go out and run at one of his best tracks throughout his career in a fast car. Sounds pretty easy to me. Give me Aric Almirola near the top of the board, but worth the price at $10,500.
He's already he's been in vacation mode and not vacation mode at the same time, right? Like anytime you see an interview with him, it's always so relaxed.
Yeah, well, and that's at this point, you're living the dream, right? You got to be the Cup Series guy, Cup Series regular for years and years in the Cup Series, had a solid career. You got some Cup wins, just you were always consistent. You had your partners that kept you in good rides, all this stuff. Now you get to hang out with the kids, you get to hang out with the wife. But, every once in a while, I'm going to take the family to the track. Like his kids are always coming out on the track when he wins, celebrating with him. It's the whole family thing. And there's not a lot of pressure. He's just going out and having fun. And we're going to make this run for the Owners' Championship with you, but not really been any pressure because he's just won a couple times, advanced to the next round. He's already locked into Phoenix next week. He's just going out and doing his thing. And really, it's kind of the ideal situation at this point. You're the Cup Series veteran, gets to come down, have fun. No other Cup guys are racing right now because they're not allowed to. It's beautiful. Got to love it for Aric.
I wonder if that's how I'm going to feel when I'm finally retired from the military at 60 and I could just do what I want and still, show up every once in a while and do something and they put me to bed. And that's fun. All right. Speaking of somebody who is having some fun, how about Corey Day? The second coming of Kyle Larson, pre-Shook era, is driving the number 17 in the Xfinity race. He definitely is driving the 17 in the Xfinity race this weekend. And look, it begins and ends with this, right? Corey Day, for a part-time schedule, because obviously he's not even old enough to, have a drink at the bar, let alone race full-time. 27.3 fantasy points is what he's averaging so far in 9 races this season. 2 top 10 finishes for the young man, including a 4th place finish in the last race that he was in Las Vegas, right? 19th place start, 4th place in Las Vegas. That equated to a whopping 56.4 fantasy points for you on that day. But what I'm also taking out of this is a 17th place finish at Bristol, in which he gave you 28.7 fantasy points. He started 17th, finished 17th, so no advancement there. Had 6 fast laps. But here's the thing, right? This is still such a young driver. This is still a guy that's learning the ropes of even Xfinity, let alone racing in general in the NASCAR Elite Series. And he did get a 9th place at Gateway the week before that, where he got you 43.8 fantasy points that day. 40 points in the Tennessee Lottery in Nashville, where he started 21st, finished 11th. And how about at Texas, where he got you 44 points at Texas? So some major point getters at some ovals, at some mile and a half, at a couple of a short track as well. I mean, Corey Day at $7,700. Yeah, he's priced up a little bit from what you probably would expect him to be running part-time, but it's worth it. It's worth it because there's probably not a lot of people who are going to take a chance on Corey Day because they're scrolling past him, right? He's a flashy name, but he's still not mainstream enough yet to where everybody is clamoring for him in their DFS lineups. And so that's where you can kind of, especially at $7,700, he's only run 9 races. He's $7,700. Yeah, he's averaging 27.6 fantasy points, but nah, I'm good, right? I'll look somewhere else for my $7,700 driver, which, again, if you're looking in that range, you got Harrison Burton up there, you got Christian Eckes, you got Nick Sanchez around that area. So they could be going that direction as opposed to you, who should be going to Corey Day and loading up. So I like Corey Day, $7,700 for this race.
Yeah, this is another guy that we haven't heard his plans for next year, but you'd imagine that gets a little more extended. Raja going to go to JRM next year to run part-time, and sounds like he's going to fill in that schedule to run for the Drivers' Championship with some other rides. But what's the plan with this 17 car? Do we see more Day next year with it, or do they get him in the Truck Series? So kind of looking for that next step with him, but another chance to kind of prove what he's got and show Mr. H over everybody, who's obviously his biggest backer right now with the Hendrick cars. Obviously Kyle Larson too, but what he's got at this level and what he can continue to do. He's had some good runs lately, so I like the play.
19 years old, from right up the road, actually, from me in Clovis. That's so insane. He was born in 2005. Almost his birthday too, November 28th. But all right,
happy birthday, Corey Day.
We'll say happy birthday on November 28th. All right, now.
Okay, Rod. So at this point, we're finished with all the series. So if you want to go ahead and wrap the show up, that'd be great.
Thank you very much, Cody. I will definitely take that lead. All right, get out your pen and paper. Something's going to happen, and you guys are just going to have to roll with it. Cody, in the Truck Series, gave you Gio Ruggiero, $7,800 as his driver. I said Andrés.
Now they backed up earlier for no reason.
Yeah, seriously. $6,600 for him. And then for the Xfinity race, Cody gave you Eric Almirola, $10,500 for his driver. I said Corey Day at $7,700 is mine. Well, we made it, much to the dismay of many people listening. But yeah, we are here at the end of the race now. Now we're at the end of the week. Now, guys.
Now we've made it to that point finally. Yes, but yeah, good luck to everybody this week at Martinsville. Enjoy it. Only 2 races of NASCAR racing left. There's still some F1 stuff out there, Rod. We'll have to talk about that here in the upcoming weeks with no NASCAR and other fun stuff. But yeah, enjoy these last 2 weeks of NASCAR DFS, NASCAR betting. Let's go have a good time.
We have plenty of motorsports to talk about over the course of the off season, because as much as we didn't last year, I think this year it's going to be a fun time to start breaking down more. I mean, we did cover the Snowball Derby and all that other good stuff, but we got this. So, all right. Well then, Cody, let's let everybody get out of here so they can have some fun setting up their DFS lineups. Remind everyone where they can find you outside.
Yeah, follow me over on the X at @Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff over there. Thursday Night Football, if you're listening to this before tonight's kickoff, I've got an article over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com with some of my best bets for that. I share all my picks over there. We track it over on Tally site. Been top 10. So right behind Tim Kalishaw, fun fact, in my spread picks this year for Tally site, which tracks hundreds of people. So yeah, off to a really good start. Hopefully that'll continue to roll this season. But college football stuff, tons and tons of other content. Make sure you check it out. And see you guys next week. I heard that each series is going to have its own individual show next week, Rod, for championship week. We got to do it upright, preview each race, preview the championship for, give you the best bets, give you the picks. Oh, looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Best of luck this week at Briscoeville. See you guys next week.
Championship week next week. That's right. All 3 series get their own show, and DFS, of course. Follow me on Twitter, where you can find all of my musings, but not after 5 o'clock, because that is when I go to bed. And we will talk to you all next week. Have some fun in the meantime, and keep the conversation going in the Discord. Again, not after 5 o'clock, because Grandpa goes to sleep. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Love you all. Have some fun in Martinsville. Until then, let's go racing and let it ride.